Stock market wealth building script. Right now, the average American is losing $500,000 in lifetime wealth because they never invested a single dollar. If you're over 25 and don't own stocks, you're already behind, and the gap is getting worse. In the next 3 minutes, I'm showing you exactly why waiting one more month could cost you 6 figures. My buddy Marcus is a perfect example. He's 28, makes decent money at a tech company, saves about $800 a month like clockwork. But for the past 5 years, he's kept that money in a regular savings account earning basically nothing. We were grabbing coffee last week, and he was complaining about how he'll never afford a house, how his friends are getting ahead. I did the math for him right there on a napkin. If Marcus invested just that $800 a month starting 5 years ago instead of letting it sit in his savings account, he'd have over $60,000 right now. Not $48,000 like his account actually shows, $60,000. That's 12 grand he literally left on the table just by being scared. And Marcus isn't alone. According to Federal Reserve data from 2023, almost 40% of Americans don't own a single share of stock, either directly or through retirement accounts. That's 130 million people. And here's the part that should keep you up at night. The average person who starts investing at 35 instead of 25 will have roughly 50% less wealth by retirement, even if they invest the exact same amount. That's not an opinion. That's compounding math. Let me break down why this matters so much. When you invest in the stock market, you're not just putting money somewhere and hoping it grows. You're putting that money into companies that are actually making profits. When you own stocks, you own a tiny piece of those profits. Over the last 70 years, the stock market has returned about 10% per year on average. That means if you invested $1,000 today, in just 10 years without adding another penny, it could be worth around $2,600. But here's the thing nobody tells beginners. That's only if you actually own the stocks. If your money is sitting in a savings account earning 0.01%, you're actually losing money to inflation. A dollar today isn't worth a dollar in 10 years. It's worth less. Your purchasing power is shrinking. The villain in this story isn't the stock market. It's not investing. The real villain is fear mixed with bad information. There's this myth floating around that the stock market is some kind of casino, that it's rigged against regular people, that you need to pick individual stocks and do tons of research. That's completely backwards. The best investors actually do the opposite. They buy simple index funds. Basically, they own a tiny piece of hundreds or thousands of companies all at once. You're not trying to beat the market, you're trying to own the market. And that's something literally anyone can do in about 20 minutes. Let's talk about the 3 reasons people don't start investing, and why every single one of them is wrong. First, people think they need a lot of money to start. I hear this all the time. I'll invest when I have 10 grand saved up. Wrong. Most brokers let you start with literally any amount. You could open an account tomorrow with $100. Yeah, $100. And you can add money whenever you want. Some apps let you invest money as soon as you get paid. This isn't a barrier anymore. The barrier is just in your head. Second, people think they need to know a lot about stocks. They think they need to understand balance sheets and PE ratios and all this complicated stuff. Actually, studies show that people who know less about the stock market often do better because they don't overthink it. They buy boring index funds, they forget about them, and 10 years later they're up 100%. Meanwhile, people who are trying to pick individual stocks and time the market are usually doing worse. You don't need to be smart about investing. You need to be consistent. Third, and this is the big one, people think they might lose everything. This is actually fear talking. Can the stock market go down? Yeah, absolutely. It drops like 20% pretty regularly. But historically, it always comes back. If you invested money right before the 2008 financial crisis, the worst possible timing, you'd still have made money if you just held it for 10 years. The only way you actually lose money is if you panic sell when the market drops. And guess what? Boring investors who don't check their account every day don't do that. So here's what you actually need to do, and it's embarrassingly simple. Step 1, open a brokerage account. I'm not going to name specific apps because there are tons of good ones. Fidelity, Vanguard, Charles Schwab, even your bank probably offers one. It takes 5 minutes. You need ID and a social security number. That's it. Step 2, link your bank account. This is where you transfer money in. Step 3. Invest in a total stock market index fund. This is a fund that owns a tiny piece of basically every public company in America. The ticker is usually VTSAX or VOO or VTI. Different companies offer slightly different versions, but they're all essentially the same thing. You're buying a piece of the entire American economy. Step 4. Set up automatic investments. This is the secret weapon nobody talks about. If you tell your brokerage to automatically transfer, say, $200 from your checking account every single paycheck and invest it immediately, you don't have to think about it ever again. This is called dollar-cost averaging, and it's how rich people actually build wealth. They automate it and forget about it. That's it. That's literally the whole strategy. No picking stocks. No watching financial news. No checking your account every day. Just boring, consistent investing in the entire market. Let me put this in perspective with real numbers that should terrify you a little. If you start investing $500 a month at age 25 in a simple index fund and just leave it alone, by age 65 you'll have over $2 million. Not $1.5 million, $2 million. But if you wait until you're 35 to start that same $500 a month investment, you'll only have about $1 million. That's $1 million that just vanishes because you waited 10 years. Now imagine if you're 40 and haven't started. You're looking at about $550,000 instead of $2 million. That's what Marcus was looking at. The other thing people don't realize is that most of the growth happens at the very end. In that $2 million scenario, the first 15 years of investing might only get you to $200,000. But the last 15 years get you to almost $1.8 million. That's when compound interest really starts working. But you only get to that point if you started early enough. If you wait until you're 50, you might only invest for 15 years and end up with $200,000. That's the difference between starting early and starting late. This is why Marcus was actually panicking. He thought he was fine because he was only 28, but he'd already left 5 years on the table. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. Here's the thing, I'm not telling you to get rich quick. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. In fact, it's the exact opposite. This is boring. This is unsexy. This is the thing your friend won't want to talk about at parties. But it works. It's literally mathematical. If you consistently invest in the market over decades, you will build serious wealth. There's almost nothing else that guarantees that. The action you need to take is simple. Spend the next 20 minutes today opening a brokerage account. Just do it. Don't overthink it. Pick whichever one is easiest for you. Link your bank account. Invest your first $100 into a total market index fund. Set up automatic investing for whatever amount you can afford. Then don't touch it. Seriously, don't check it. Just let it grow. If you're already investing, the second thing I want you to do is check whether you're in index funds or individual stocks. If you're in individual stocks and you don't spend hours researching companies, switch to index funds. You'll probably do better. And if you know someone like Marcus who's waiting to start, send them this video. Seriously, share it with one person. They might think you're weird, but 5 years from now they'll be thanking you. The hardest part of building wealth isn't understanding it. It's not complicated. The hardest part is just starting. So stop waiting for the perfect time. The perfect time was yesterday. The next best time is right now. Open that account today.